Tonight, Premier responds to Air New Zealand debacle. National Planning Summit concludes today. Good evening, I'm Sarai Mangawa and this is your BCN News. Leading our news tonight, members of Parliament on Monday questioned Premier Dalton Tagelangi over the situation with Air New Zealand and the lack of available seats until mid-October. The questions came after several calls on social media by family members asking passengers departing on Monday's flight to give up their seats so a family of 5 could attend their brother's funeral in Auckland. Here's more on this story. Member of Hakupu, Richie Mautama, and Common Role members Honourable Pili Talangi and Honourable Olaf Jacobson asked Premier Dalton Tagelangi about the air services agreement and what the government intends to do to help local Niuean travellers who are struggling with expensive airfares and lack of available seats. Common Role Member of Parliament Billy Talangi appealed to the Premier to do something to help with the airline situation because it is impacting the families who are unable to attend funerals or other important family and village events because of unavailable seats. The unavailable seats are also impacting on the family of the late Honourable Poko Sipeli, whose family will have to wait until the 16th of October to bring his body home for burial. On Monday, some passengers gave up their seats so that a family of 5 could travel to attend the funeral of the sudden passing of their 26-year-old brother. Premier Dalton Tagelangi told the Whanau Eke Pule that there is still no current air services agreement with Air New Zealand, and this is not just for Niue. Other Pacific Island nations are in the same predicament with Air New Zealand. Common Role Member of Parliament Olaf Jacobson called on Premier Dalton Tagelangi to speak directly with Prime Minister Chris Hipkins to do something about the situation with Air New Zealand. Premier Tagelangi told the Whanau Eke Pule that his officials are in regular communication with Air New Zealand and are optimistic that an air services agreement may be ready next year. Meanwhile, Air New Zealand's General Manager for short haul, Jeremy O'Brien, in a statement to BCN News said that the capacity issues are due to the popular sales to Niue. Since the borders opened to Niue, we have had 10 sales for flights to the region. These were incredibly popular, so we will continue to offer sales where possible. We know how important the Air New Zealand services in, to and out of Niue are to the local community. While we would love to be able to put on additional flights to many of our regions due to limited aircraft availability, this is not possible. As with all our routes, we monitor demand closely to ensure there's enough capacity to meet the needs of the region. Air New Zealand's Jeremy O'Brien said that Air New Zealand will do their best to offer a range of fares to ensure travel is accessible for all customers. He said, generally speaking, last-minute travel will always be more expensive than booking in advance. This is to ensure there are still seats available for those that need to travel last minute, and the services don't sell out if they are all at the lowest price point. BCN News understands that Air New Zealand sometimes uses the A321 aircraft with capacity of about 210 seats, but most of the time Air New Zealand uses the smaller A320 aircraft, which can only carry 158 passengers. There's only one flight a week serviced by Air New Zealand to Niue from Auckland, departing on Tuesday and arriving on Monday until November, when the second weekly flight will resume. 6 motions were put before the Whanau Eke Pule on Monday by 2 Common Role members. Jacobson's 4 motions were supported by the Whanau Eke Pule and 2 motions were referred to the Parliamentary Select Committee for further discussions. Common Role member Pili Talangi's 2 motions were both supported. Here's more on this story.
One of Jacobson's motions, which was supported by the Whanau Eke Pule, called on the government to open a dialogue with the Government of New Zealand to explore the possibility of extending the payment of the New Zealand pension to all New Zealand citizens residing in the realm country of Niue. Jacobson's motion calling on the government to ban vaping was referred to the Social Services Select Committee. Her motion calling on Cabinet to urgently review the civil list to address the issue of the acting allowances paid to members assisting ministers when in acting ministerial position. This motion was supported by the Whanau Eke Pule, but it was also referred to the House Committee and to the Constitution Review Committee, and they will report back to the Whanau at a later date. Jacobson's fourth motion, calling on the government to urgently reactivate the Price Control Board in view of the escalating costs of goods in stores at the moment, was also supported by the House. Billy Talangi's motions, one of which called for the government and the Public Service Commission to expedite the work to separate the Department of Community Affairs from the Department of Justice, Lands and Surveys, was unanimously supported by the Whanokē Pule. Billy Talangi's second motion, calling on the government to prioritise the renovations of the original Whalefono building at Sialekula as part of the program in the commemorations of the 50th Constitution celebrations. This motion was also supported by the Whānau. While the members' motions are supported by the Whanokē Pule, it is yet to be seen whether the Cabinet will support and implement the motions.
The 3-day National Planning Summit started on Tuesday with opening remarks by Premier Dalton Tagelangi and Member Assisting Minister Sina Hemana Heko. After 3 days of government officials, political leaders, NGO and CSOs evaluating the progress of the current National Strategic Plan 2016 to 2026, developing the next National Strategic Plan 2027 to 2037 was the final item of the agenda. Here's more on this story. The official opening of the National Planning Summit 2023 took place on Tuesday this week, where Premier Dalton Tagelangi and his Member Assisting Minister Sina Hemana Heko both gave opening remarks. Here is a part of Premier Tagelangi's opening statement.
As we continue to address the challenges and remnants of COVID-19, we must focus on the main challenges that we are facing as a nation. The climate crisis, health and education, declining population, geopolitical issues, disrupted supply chains, the high inflation, the labor mobility, and immigration issues, protecting our taonga niue values, reduce revenue streams, and resultant post-COVID budget deficits. Recognizing the urgency of these overarching challenges, we must respond efficiently and smartly to the whole of government reforms. Through innovation and transformation is how we do things for the remainder of the current national planning cycle to 2026. Without the reforms, we will be left behind, no doubt about that. So we must renew our goals, double our efforts and commitments through innovation, transformation, and improve productivity by all.
In her statement, Sina Heko shared the significance of the National Strategic Plan themed on Niue Kokaina. Yesterday was day 2 for the summit, where the Taonga Niue Department conducted its presentation, led by Director Moira Enetama. Moira emphasized the urgency to Wangahau Niue language declining and the urgent need to address this concerning issue. Today was also the final day for evaluating the progress of the departments. This morning, the Ministry of Infrastructure presented its evaluation and progress, which was presented by Director of Utilities Clinton Chapman. Mr. Chapman gave a comprehensive presentation to the various sectors such as energy, power, utilities and infrastructure, and the national plan from 2016 to current. The summit concluded today as government officials, departments, the public and private sectors look ahead on the next National Strategic Plan 2027 to 2037. Premier Dalton Tagelangi on Monday confirmed that the government has yet to decide on the appointment of the next Niue High Commissioner to New Zealand. He was responding to Common Role Member of Parliament Olaf Jacobson's question when the post of High Commissioner to Wellington will be filled. Premier Tagelangi said that the appointment is on hold while an assessment is made on the residence and office of the Niue High Commissioner, which is located in a high-risk earthquake area in Wellington.
This process is expected to take up to 6 months. In the meantime, the First Secretary continues to work, and from time to time officials from Niue will be transferred to work in Wellington when needed. The last High Commissioner to Wellington, Fisapingia, returned to Niue in April this year after completing his 6 years in the post. Premier said that the government did consider renting a property in Wellington in the interim, but that would also draw on our limited financial resources.
There are currently 4 senior-level vacancies within the Niue Public Service, according to a notice issued by the Niue Public Service Commission last week. The vacancies are now open for expression of interest. The 4 high-level vacancies include Director of Education, Director of Transport, Director of Health, and Chief Medical Officer. Expressions of interest are now open to apply for these 4 high-level positions within the Niue Public Service. Here's more on this story.
The Director of Education position is currently held by Bertha Tonghai, who has been in the role for the past 10 years. The Director of Transport became vacant when Sonia Talangi was elected to the Whanokepule in May this year. And the Director of Health and Chief Medical Officer positions are currently held by Dr. Edgar Akowala, who's been in the position for just over 10 years. It was not clear from the Public Commission's notice whether these positions are being advertised overseas. Applications are to include a 3 to 5 year business plan on how the applicant envisages the department over the coming years. Applications will close on Monday, the 18th of September.
Progress on major works around the island continues with the China First Railway Group working on the road upgrade project. The works at the Whanuakula intersection to Hui are now completed with the cement work, and the team have now moved to do the same at the Sir Robert Wharf and Centennial Church area earlier this week. Caution is called for all motorists to take notes of these road works and to slow down and take extra care. Roadworks continues also from Hakupu to Avasele, and also the road signs at Whanuakula. Motorists are asked to slow down at these areas as well. Another major project has also started with Telecom Niue rolling out the second fiber project from Kaimisi. Motorists should take care when traveling to the hospital and to expect some delays when some sections of the road may be blocked for the fiber cable rollout project. This is the final week of competition for the Niue Lawn Bowls team at the World Bowls Championships in Gold Coast, Australia. According to the Bowlslink Australia, Team Niue have only managed to win 2 matches this week compared to an impressive winning streak each of the 3 days of games from last week. Here's more on this story. For the men's single category, Stanley Tafatu is Team Niue's competitor and won 1 out of his 8 games. He won against Argentina with 21 shots to 16 and placed 9th in his pool. Also in the men's fours category, including Tifanga Tupuiliu, TK Tangelangi, Keith Papani and Greg Funaki, they won their match against Turkey with 12 shots to 10. They won only 1 of their 8 games and placed 8th in their category. In the women's triples category, this week is Lindsay Talangi, Chris Hipa, and Joy Peiro. They were unsuccessful in securing a win for 1 of their 7 games. The women's pairs, including Catherine Papani and Bilana Mutufo, were also not so lucky in winning any of their 7 games this week. The team will be returning back next week. BCN News thanks Lindsay Talangi and Bill Vakafi Mutufo for the images used in this story. There is only 1 active case of COVID-19 on the island at the moment. No recoveries were reported yesterday, according to the Niue Health Department updated yesterday. Since March 2022, Niue has recorded a total of 887 cases of COVID-19. From this number, 886 are classified as recovered. More information can be found online at www.covid19.gov.nu. And tonight, to finish off our news bulletin, due to COVID alert code red last year, Tuapa was not able to host their village show day. But this year they have yet hosted a successful one, which took place last Saturday. A beautiful, hot, sunny day it was for locals and tourists who gathered early morning to the village green, where there was food sold from barbecue to nane and sweet delicacies. A festive day for the island, but more so for the people of the village of Tuapa. The official program began after 8 a.m. with speeches from village leaders and government officials. Former Tuapa Member of Parliament and Niue High Commissioner in Wellington, Fisa Pihingia, also spoke on the day, sharing the significance of uplifting our young people as leaders of today and for tomorrow.
It's almost the first time. And that's how we build our young leaders. And I would like to see that happen in all villages, in all community. That we don't wait for them for tomorrow to become leaders, but we make them leaders now.
Acting Australia High Commissioner to Niue, William Powell, also spoke last Saturday, sharing the various roles the Australia High Commission have assisted with the village of Tuapa.
When I first started working on Niue in 2021 in the desk in Canberra, my very first job was to run the direct aid program for Niue, and in that program we supported the Tuapa Youth Sports Development Group with a grant in 2021, and I hope that program is going well. And I'd also like to encourage you to keep an eye on the Australian Facebook page, the Australian High Commission Facebook page, because we'll be launching the new direct aid program, which is a grant program for community groups and NGOs. We'll be launching that next Friday.
The program commenced with cultural performances by the youth and the children of the village. Followed after was the traditional sports Tahasika of the men and Olofoniu of the women, concluding with the Toloafi traditional fire making. There was no winner for the Toloafi for this year. And before we end our news bulletin tonight, this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. at the Niue High School Paliasi School grounds will be the Niue Rugby League tournament between the North and the South, inviting all those to go and support the Niue Rugby League as they play out on the field. And that is our news bulletin for tonight. So join us again next week for more. I'm Sarah Mangawa. Have a good night.